Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Monument. Today we'll be having a look at Polestar 5, the electric four-door car that has finally taken some realistic shape. Now before we continue with this video, allow me to declare this video is not financial advice. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes and for educational purposes. Now the EV brand's next sedan model is headed into production in 2024, but the competition isn't sleeping. 2024 Polestar 5 electric performance four-door preview along with new episodes showing the design process. Now Polestar plans to launch the three new models in the next 3 years, with the Polestar 3 SUV that is due next year in 2022. The electric brand that was formed out of Volvo's tuning arm is expanding its retail presence, and it's adding 20 retail locations in 2021 in the US alone and a total of 46 retail stores worldwide. Polestar is also giving the world a glimpse of an upcoming electric vehicle performance sedan that will carry the number 5 when its debut in 2024. First preview by the preset concept earlier this year, the four-door GT is still taking shape, so the vehicles seen in these week's teaser images are different in a number of subtle ways, featuring more of a fastback profile while dropping the suicide doors layout of the preset concept. The automaker also released the third episode in a short documentary series of the design process of this EV, which will be aimed at the likes of Mercedes-Benz EQS and the Porsche Taycan, amongst others luxury EV manufacturers such as BMW, of course. Now Polestar is calling the image above a final design direction, without explicitly giving it a pre-production label, but it's also notable how much complete it looks, showing the evolution from preset car show. So on one hand, we're not too far away from the final product, but on the other hand, 2024 is some time away, or at least 3 years away. Now in that span of time, we'll see the Polestar 3 Sport Utility debut next year, as a matter of fact, which is yet another Polestar model in 2023. Only then we'll see the Polestar 5 in the metal, by which time the brand should have a much larger retail presence than it currently does. Now a dual model layout is more than likely, given that the competition currently offers, while the range expectations of the 2024 are likely to see it able to cover well over 300 miles on a single charge. The luxury electric sedan market of 2024 will also be quite more populated and a lot more competitive. And to be honest, there'll be a lot more vehicles that are possibly even doing better numbers. So while it's brilliant that Polestar is planning vehicles for the future, they're planning well ahead in advanced time, they also need to account for the fact that 3 years from now, the electric market will be slightly different, which means that what's considered a good electric car right now might certainly change opinion in the next few years. Now with a number of new entries from the EV startups such as Lucid and legacy auto brands such as Audi, Polestar will have to chart its own course when it arrives over the next 2 years, by which time it should also be much better branded in the field of EV. So naturally, this is obviously really exciting to see. Now it's quite wonderful to see this car in some of its final detail. Polestar is finally not just competing in a market where it's extremely competitive, they're targeting the exact audience that I think it's best to target, the luxury brand, luxury EV, but also a sedan. This will not be Polestar's first sedan, but this is Polestar's first luxury sedan. In terms of competition, it's going up against Mercedes, likes of Mercedes, Audi, and not to mention Porsche and Porsche's very own luxury EV, the Porsche Taycan, which some people do tend to say that that's possibly even better than the Tesla Model S, which is quite a lot to say. But to see Polestar heading into this direction is more than exciting. But to see them design such a beautiful car, it's absolutely brilliant. But to wait 3 years just to see this car being in production, well, it's a long time to wait, and I hope that they can continue to evolve this look into the next 3 years. Because 3 years from now, the landscape of what looks good with a car will drastically change. Polestar aims to double its footprint by 2023. That's in 2 years' time. More vehicles, more Polestar spaces on the way, but building brand awareness is also key. And that is true. You take a look at what Elon Musk has done for Tesla, and you realize that brand and image is absolutely fundamental in this modern age of technological advancements. So Polestar's plans to operate in 30 markets by 2023 compared to the 14 markets that it's currently operating in. The EV maker has added 46 retail locations in 2021 worldwide called Polestar Spaces. This is with 20 of these locations being added into the US. Now Polestar 3 battery electric sport utility, it's on its way as well for 2022, as we've said before, and we couldn't be any more excited for that, given that the fact that Tesla's recently launched into a similar space with their SUV, with their version of an affordable SUV, the Model Y. It's quite an ambitious thing for Tesla to do, and it's quite ambitious, and it's extremely ambitious to see Polestar heading into the same direction and competing in the same direction. Now Polestar may not be a household name like Tesla, but it's been producing cars longer than most other EV startups such as Lucid and Rivian. Obviously because Polestar used to be a part of Volvo, and Volvo has been building cars for decades now, much longer than Tesla. So in a way, Polestar has a lot more experience building cars than Tesla, Lucid, Rivian. This will give Polestar a great advantage, but they do need more factories around the world, and I mean big factories, gigafactories. Now it's building a store network that is just like the Austin-based EV maker that has now been selling EV for over a decade. Now Polestar has been fresh off a planned SPAC merger with Gores Guggenheim. Polestar has revealed this week that it plans to more than double its presence throughout the world by 2023. By 2025, it seeks to increase sales to 219,000 vehicles, and I assume this is per year, annually. I don't think this is enough. I don't think this is quite ambitious enough. Tesla is already building almost 1 million cars per year. In fact, I think it was damn close to 1 million cars in the last year for Tesla. Really extraordinary stuff by Tesla. But to see Polestar targeting roughly around 250,000 cars per year in 4 years from now, that's not ambitious enough. These numbers that I'm looking at on the screen seeks to increase sales to 290,000. I hope these numbers are wrong in some way, because I seriously don't think this is ambitious enough. I think they need to be thinking bigger and better, especially given the fact that in the electric market you can't afford to wait. This is the time to be ambitious, overly ambitious and bold. Now that's with a lineup that's right now consists of just one model, but that should be joined by 3 other EVs by Polestar, of course. So during this time they will be increasing their lineup, and they will have a lot more cars to choose from, which is good. Now the opening of new locations, 25 expected to be added to the US by the end of the year, are certainly added to the company's footprint, with a new Polestar space in cities like Detroit, Dallas, Atlanta and Phoenix. But it's not lost on EV industry observers that location themselves will not drive a surge in the retail demand, especially given the fact that German automakers are now elbowing into Polestar's single segment, with the BMW i4 due in dealership quite soon, and all still fighting for a very tiny slice of the auto market. So it's quite interesting to see companies like Polestar, Volvo, BMW, Mercedes, they're all fighting for a little space in the EV industry. And to be honest, I think it's pathetic, because on the other hand, you've got Tesla that's not fighting for a space in the EV industry. They simply own the EV industry. And if companies like BMW, Mercedes, Polestar, they continue to fight over the small things, the crumbs, companies like Tesla will simply grow forever stronger and forever bigger and just completely swallow the market. And if it's not apparent, Tesla is already doing this. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's kind of embarrassing to see legacy automakers such as Audi, BMW, Mercedes simply struggling to keep up with the demands that Tesla is able to commit to. So overall, it is good that Polestar plans to add new EV models each year throughout 2024. With the Polestar 3 due next year, this is good, and that's an SUV, and I think that's probably the best option. That's probably the best options that they've made. Started with cheaper vehicles as well, and not necessarily the most expensive lineup of their vehicles, such as the Polestar 5. I think it's good that they're starting with cheaper vehicles. As the electric market is being more aware, people are finally looking for cheaper options in electric vehicles. So thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to see more. And of course, I will see you in my next video.